Matt, on that point, a viewer sent this in for me specifically to raise with you, saying our ergon electricity prices have gone up by 35% since July 1. Our rate prior was 25.48 cents per kilowatt hour. It's now 34.319 cents per kilowatt hour. A massive increase in cost. This is from a farmer up near you. You know, how can businesses and farms survive with these sorts of increases?
It's just so sad, James. It is sad because we are a country that has abundant energy resources. Obviously, coal and gas, which we traditionally relied on. We've also got the world's largest reserves of uranium. If we had the guts to use those rather than just export them, and yet we're crushing Australian families here with some of the highest now energy prices of the world. 34 cents a kilowatt hour. Over there in Canada, they're paying around 15 to 20 cents a kilowatt hour. So half now what that gentleman is paying there in Queensland. We have a very similar countries in Canada, Australia, very similar sized population, dispersed population, and of course very similar energy resources. So maybe we should just have a look at what Canada is doing compared to what we are doing. They have nuclear energy. They're investing in baseload power stations and building more nuclear energy power stations. We're obsessed with just solar and wind and putting all our eggs in a very, very expensive basket. And look, it's not just, of course, electricity prices. Petrol prices are through the roof. Interest rates are up. People can't afford this. We've got to do something to get their power bills down. Anthony Albanese just seems obsessed with the voice, obsessed with hobnobbing with corporates like Qantas. And despite his protestations while he was opposition leader about petrol prices, he's doing nothing now that he's Prime Minister to help people with diesel and petrol prices well over $2 a litre.
Well, indeed, Matt, I saw that the Prime Minister tweeted out a couple of years ago, you know, how much are you paying for petrol? And now I actually realized that I just filled up. It's quite a bit more than that. But you mentioned Albanese's cozy relationship with Qantas. I want to ask you about that and the hearings we had in the Senate this week. Now, we saw they were very entertaining and there was a lot of great stuff that came out of them. But one detail that was very interesting to me was that Qantas had 60% of the airline market in this country. What will coming out of this, or what do you think Parliament do to improve the competitiveness, not just of the airline market, but the competitiveness of various industries, supermarkets, all sorts of other industries where we are often held to ransom by duopolies, and in the case of Qantas, you know, is certainly able to curry favour with decision makers, you know, through things like its Chairman's Lounge program?
Well, James, this is a test for the Labor government, a test for Anthony Albanese. I think the most shocking revelations that have come out over the past few months is not that Qantas is some rapacious, malicious, profit-maximising corporate entity. We all knew that. What the shocking revelations is that the Labor government has been in cahoots with them to help them in those ends. So the test for them here will be, will they take action now to increase that competition? Obviously, the one thing they could do that this inquiry is all about is allowing more competition from overseas airlines in the international market. The decision around Qatar has not been properly explained. There is an impending decision. In fact, it's sitting on the minister's desk around slots at the Sydney airport, which Qantas and Virgin seem to be banking and not using. And so opening up those can increase competition. And look, I'll add this to the table too. I've said this to some colleagues, but I don't think I've said it publicly since the Qantas saga started. I think we need to take a serious look at whether Qantas and Jetstar should remain together. We should have. Most other countries in the world have powers to break up monopolies. They've been used in the US multiple times by Republican and Democrat administrations. We don't have them on our books here in Australia. It's something the Nationals Party's campaigned for a long time to deal with corporates with that much market power. Now, they may not even have to be used, but the very threat of potentially breaking up a monopolist will help rein in some of the more egregious behaviour that we've seen by the likes of Qantas in recent years.
Matt, we've got The Voice coming up in 2 weeks' time. Up in around Australia, we're finding a lot of the Liberal and National parties are saying we need more people to come to man the booths. Would that be your advice as well? Because the Yes campaign, not only do they have Qantas and every other big business on their side and billions of dollars, they've got an army of volunteers. How do we get more people out on the no side at the booths, Matt?
Well, absolutely. If you can do that, if you can give up your time, don't just get angry on Sky News or get even angrier watching ABC. Get out there and in the next 2 weeks, so voting starts this week. you can get out there and help out. Just a couple of hours can make a big difference on a booth. The other thing, I think contact your local Liberal National Party organisation. They're organising that all around the country. They can help you out. They certainly can help you out here. Rocky, come into my office. We'll be able to point you in the right direction, or other people's offices do that. I think the other thing, really important thing here, is just talk to your friends and family about making sure they vote. I do think the no side has correctly won the argument here with the Australian people. The Yes campaign seems only able to roll out pop songs and drag queens. They don't really have arguments about why we should change our constitution. But the Australian people don't want to change their constitution lightly. The key risk now is making sure everybody votes. It's very clear, I think, the majority of Australians are against their constitution, but that doesn't necessarily mean everybody that turns up at the ballot box is against. That's the key thing. So just to make sure your friends and family have voted. There's lots of opportunities to do that. There's pre-poll like normal, there's postal votes, and of course on the day in 2 weeks' time, get out there and vote.
Fantastic. Thanks, Matt Canavan.